back, legends. I hope you're all fantastic. Today's video is a little bit different for me because this is not a piece of guitar gear at all. I alluded on one of my last Q&As that I had bought a hardware synthesizer, and this is it. I bought a Hydrasynth from ASM. Absolutely no affiliation with the company at all. I just love the way this thing sounds. I love the way it plays. And as a guitar player, I just want to give you an idea of why I bought this, as well as showing off some of my favorite sounds on here. So ASM kind of came out of nowhere with this particular unit a couple of years ago. I've been watching a lot of videos on it over the last couple of years as well, and I decided to bite the bullet for a few reasons. Number one, I love the sound. So I'm going to play this like Blade Runner inspired patch to get started. Everything you're about to hear is coming from this keyboard, and then we'll talk about a few of the other features that I really like on it. So check it out. Just like a good piece of guitar gear, that's kind of making me pull all the faces right there. But the poly aftertouch feature on this, the ribbon controller, and the just kind of general layout and what you can do with this kind of synth are the big three reasons I wanted to get one. I use the Arturia 5 suite a lot when I'm writing and demoing. Having software-based synthesizers is something I could not live without, and I love those, but they're very much a thing where they kind of come secondary in my workflow, where I'm going to use them for just a little bit of extra color or some extra texture on a particular recording. I'll program the MIDI. I don't have to worry about playing, whereas this, I want to play it. I want to be expressive the same way I'm expressive on guitar, bending and sliding and using effects and stuff like that. So this kind of lets me do that, and it's a really, really fun way to get into a keyboard-based synthesizer. I also like the layout. Like you're going to see over here, your modules, it's really clearly laid out. You have 3 oscillators. The first 2 oscillators are paired with 2 of these mutant modules, which will let you do stuff like FM synthesis, pulse wave modulation, all that kind of fun, advanced synth stuff. If you're a complete moron like me when it comes to synthesizers, like, oh, FM, that's a new thing. It's only been around longer than I've been alive. Anyway, you have a mixer section. There's a ring modulator and a noise section in there, 2 filters, 5 LFOs, 5 envelope generators in there, and you've got pre and post effects and dedicated delay and reverb. And I think the reverb in here is really, really impressive. Like there's a cloud type reverb in here. You kind of don't really need anything else to make this work. And as we heard with that Blade Runner titles patch in there, I think it sounds amazing. The presets as well were another big selling factor. Like, part of me just wants to get better at playing keyboards and having the ability to do expressive stuff like with the ribbon controller and poly aftertouch and things like that. Another part of me wants to learn sound design and wants to learn synthesis. So this kind of makes that really straightforward with the oscillator and mutant module layouts. But let's hear some more sounds on this, and I can hopefully show you some more features. So these are all just factory presets. This one's called Swarm Bass, which sounds really, really fat and thick. Fantastic. You have this master control section with all your macros in here. So for example, if we look at what the oscillators are doing here, we've got a saw, and a saw. So that's not too interesting on this one. It sounds pretty fat, but you can morph the waveform. One unique feature about this synthesizer we'll look at in a second is like the wave stack feature, and then the ability to just morph between different wave tables. Pretty amazing. I'll show you that on just like an initial patch. And then you've got, you know, all your controls for your effects, kind of whatever you want. And you can assign these really easily. The poly aftertouch, you can assign in the mod matrix. You can do so much with the mod matrix in here. Like, look at all these assignments you can make. I think up to, what is that? Just keeps going. Up to, well, this goes to 32 assignments on here. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Dedicated filter controls up here. You can tell I don't demo synths because I'm just like, wow, look at this cool thing. And you've got lots of different filters modeled in here, which is really, really cool. Am I still on this big dirty bass sound? I am. You know, you can get these kind of fat filters in here. Awesome. It's absolutely awesome sounding. There's some nice FM style stuff in here, like a just basic FM electric piano where the macros let you adjust the attack and the chorus time and that kind of fun stuff. Basically, me playing this is just playing A minor and F major the whole time as well. So lots of fun stuff in there. And you can see in the mutant modules, this is where you can do stuff like FM synthesis or, like I said, pulse wave modulation or stack stuff up. Stuff that I really can't explain at the moment. I can read articles on how to do it. And this is helping me learn those things. All right, let's just hear a few more factory presets because they sound pretty stunning. There's some really nice analog style string stuff in here. Let's go to the favorites. Here we go. I love the way this particular patch sounds. How do I play E again? That's a good one to start on, isn't it? Now let's do that. Played something that wasn't totally miserable. Also downloaded some patches, which were paid patches from a YouTube channel called Push Pull. Check them out. They're really, really good. Like this Synth, which does one of my favorite synth style sounds ever. You know, this thing. I've been trying to teach myself how to play jump, and this is what you get. I'm just kind of going to leave it at that for now. But if you go into the voice control, this is really interesting in here because you have this warm mode and you have this analog field control, which is kind of one reason I think why it sounds so nice and analog-y. Is that a word? You also have this random phase control, which I think adds a lot to it, where you're just going to, you know, rather than start from the same point in the waveform every time, it's going to randomize that. So I'll turn the analog field down and the warm mode off, and then we'll bring them in. Pretty nice, really, really nice there. So those controls, again, they're another thing that I really, really like on here. And they're pretty powerful if you start with an initial patch. I'll just do a big montage at the end playing through some presets as well as I can. But, you know, another reason I got this is because I want to learn synthesis and kind of sound design. So let's just initialize this patch. Oscillator 1 is a saw. not too interesting at the moment. Oscillator 2 is also a saw. What I'm going to do is just detune them very slightly. And let's do that. This is kind of fun. I'll blend in the second oscillator right over here. One thing I'm still getting used to, as you can see, I went to turn that control immediately rather than this one. So now we have 2 detuned saws. This is already a lot better. That sounds like 2 detuned saws at the moment. Let's go into the voice control. We'll turn warm mode, crank the analog feel, and random phase. Maybe that's a little bit too much analog feel in there, and maybe it's just a little bit too much detune. So let's try that again. Okay, it sounds a lot warmer than it did before, but we're just kind of getting there. So the next thing I can do is let's add in a saw an octave down. I'll just blend that particular oscillator in until it sounds nice and fat. What I would next do, this for me is like a guitar player, not a synth player. I'm going to add some chorus to all of that because chorus makes everything sound better. Let's hear that. All right, that's with some chorus on there. Let's add some reverb. The hall sounds really good. I think I like the plate for just kind of everyday reverb. I'll bring the pre-delay down, turn the time up a little bit, bring the tone up a bit, and let's just kind of blend that one in. All right, I've got some effects in here. Notice that I went straight to the effects and not to the filter section or to the envelope section in there. So I got reverb on there, I've got chorus, I'm feeling it right now. Let's just play around with the filter cutoff, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna assign that to the aftertouch. So let's kind of find the minimum point on here when I'm gonna play softest. Okay, what I can do now is go into the mod matrix. Let's assign poly aftertouch to the filter. So I can then go down here, I can press filter number 1. It's going to be the cutoff, and then I can adjust the amount I want to do that by. So that sounded pretty slamming already, and like I said, I'm somebody who's inexperienced with these kind of things, and just assigning some poly aftertouch, get a little bit of filter stuff happening in there, detuning the voices using the warm mode, using the random phase and the analog feel on there. It's already a pretty good sound. The next thing, we can play around with the envelope on there. We can play around with the filter envelope as well if that's something we want to do, but I'll just kind of give, oh, that's not what I want to do. This is one thing that annoys me. Sometimes you got to remember to exit certain things. I want that to be the filter. Okay, easily fixed. Let's go out of that. Let's go to the envelope controller here and tweak the attack and the release on here. So the attack, I'll go just maybe about 10 milliseconds just to give it a bit of an offset. I like that. Let's give it just a little bit of release. Somewhere, you know, if I wanted these to really hang in there when I play them, I could crank the release. I'll bring it down to under a second. Let's try that. Pretty straightforward stuff. Again, I found this is really, really intuitive because of the way the modules are laid out. And if I want to tweak something, if I want to tweak the second filter, I can press that button and then I can twist the knobs. If I want to tweak the first filter, I can do that from there. I can also just quickly assign the LFO to do some filter sweeps in there as well, or the envelope like so. It's a beautiful thing. So anyway, there is my really, really basic subtractive synthesis tutorial on the Hydrosynth Impromptu. What else is awesome on this? The arpeggiator is really good. So is the latch function when you're not using, if you just want to hold a chord. I like that, or you can play around with the arpeggiator and you can latch it as well. This is really fun to just play like a really big chord, as much as I have the technique to play a really big chord. Let's just try a really big A minor, but with an F bass, so it'll sound like a major seventh or something like that. Now I'm just going to play around with the arpeggiator and sweep the filter controls. The idea there. Anyway, I've kind of rattled on long enough. I'm really enjoying this particular instrument. It is a new thing for me. I hope you enjoyed all the sounds I pulled on here. I'm just going to go through some of my favorite presets in here. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section. And if you're a synth player and you've got a Hydrosynth, give me some tips, give me some stuff to do, give me some exercises, because I am all in on this particular thing. And whether it's just sitting around late at night with headphones on, playing and enjoying the sounds, or when I kind of get curious about certain things and I want to know how to do stuff like the wave stack, which I didn't talk about, which is so awesome. So before I do that, let's change one of these oscillators to wave scan. And because there's a wavetable synth, you can go into wave list edit. If you hold shift and press the first one, I think that works. Oh no, I got to twist that. There we go. You can see what we've got at the moment is, with this wave scan control, a simple kind of like square wavy pulse looking thing. As I twist this, we can morph the waveforms, which is amazing in there. You get this. So yeah, that's a thing that I will talk about in another video and play around with. Or you can go and watch any of the far superior videos on this unit by people who actually know what they're doing. Otherwise, I'll say thank you so much for watching. I'm going to play you some of my favorite patches on here and try not to make too many mistakes. Let's start with this West Coast Brass, because that's a fun one. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.